All right, I just want to show y'all this video on this. This is not normally what we work on, but this is electric motor made by Shinlin for a Hoveround electric wheelchair, basically. And there is a right and left. This is the left one, I believe. I worked on the right one last night, got it going pretty good, I think. And the issue with these, which you can, it'll throw a code on the little joystick, and the code I was getting was electric brakes, and it makes sense because you can hear power getting to this motor, feel it when you apply power from the joystick, both motors, and it wasn't doing anything. So what goes on with these is there is a electromagnetic brake. Springs push a, I'm gonna call it a clutch plate. It's kind of like what it is. It's like brake material, and 3 springs, when there is no power applied, activates the brake, pushes that plate out, and on the rear end of the shaft, which I'll show you here in a minute, behind this, there is another plate that is set to it that turns with the motor. When those 2 plates are touching, it locks it in place. It's a brake, right? So to release the brake, when you apply power, the electromagnet sucks that inner plate in, then the 2 plates aren't touching and it can rotate freely. That's how it works. Very simple. These are not working. And what the problem is, I believe this electric wheelchair sat up a long time with no power. You know, the batteries were dead when we bought it. You can see this is the plate that gets sucked in right there, and you can see a slight little gap in between there, and that is supposed to pull it in, and it is not getting pulled in. And I think these 2 plates just being together so long, they're just kind of, fused together, I guess. You can see like that white corrosion, and I think it's just kind of got them stuck together more than the magnet can overcome, is basically what's happening. Just to go through the wires, doesn't seem to really matter from which one's positive, which one's negative, and I don't know either, but it works whichever way you hook it up. Of course, this is kind of like you can reverse or forward the motor by swapping the power to these 2. The 2 thick ones are the power to the main motor, and then these 4 thin ones, these 2 dark green ones, go to a brake switch, which is in here. Well, basically, you can apply power by pulling this down and activating this switch. You can apply power to release the brake without using the joystick, okay? So you don't really need these 2 for what we're doing. These 2, hook these up to positive and negative, and it'll power the brake. The electromagnet powers the electromagnet, basically. And I'll show you how you could test that. Basically, just stick something metal right here and you'll feel if the magnet's working or not. To get this off, you have 3 screws. The big 3 screws, you see the 3 big holes there? 1, 2, 3. Don't take the little ones off. You don't need to remove those. Then we're gonna take this nut off right here. This is a retention / I would say adjustment nut, but take that off, and then these 2 plates come out, and that's pretty much it. There are 3 springs behind here that will just fall out. They stay in place, but just be careful. Don't. All right, just real quick. This is just the old wood clamp I have, but any kind of C-clamp, if it's big enough, that is a pretty big, it'd need a pretty big throat. Probably an 8-inch C-clamp would work. But yeah, just get it fairly tight. And then that nut is, I believe, a 3/4 inch. Nope, 11/16. I'll try just by hand first, but I believe, yep, I had to tap it. Old ball peen hammer there. Now it's loose. And my clamp came off. and you can see the powdery substance coming out. These are your 3 springs here that just fit right down there. And yeah, so I'm gonna come in and clean this up, clean the back of this up. You can see that white powder is just kind of stuck to this, and there is, from what I can tell, no, not supposed to be any material on this piece, because it just cleans up and it'll be bare metal. But yeah, I believe whatever all that is coming off this brake pad, I believe is what was causing it to kind of stick together. You can see this piece has the kind of brake material on it. And yeah, so what I'm using for that is just carburetor cleaner. You can use brake cleaner. Just want something to, yeah, kind of just remove all that material. Wire brush it, however you want to do it. But yeah, you don't want to use any kind of oil, you know, WD-40, anything like that on this, because it is a brake. Yep, that's it. So still got a little crusty material right there. Trying to get that off. I don't like that. But yeah, I'll finish cleaning it up. See just a few little white specks. I can kind of still feel those. You can get it off with your fingernail. Maybe a little file or something. That is a little harder. Don't know that you probably would be fine, but you'll see in a minute. It is fairly tight tolerance, like 0.3 millimeters, what you're aiming for in between this face and the face of the back of this brake. It's what gets sucked in there like that. So we'll be gapping this in between there and there. It's not a lot of space, I guess what I'm saying. So any kind of imperfections in this face, you probably want to try to get rid of. All right, just to show you what I got going on here. This is a Just Verity, got it off Amazon. I'll leave a link to it. It's just a little power supply. You see I got it set on 24 volts. The max amps this one has is 10, which should be plenty for this. It is plenty for this. And so what I've got going on here, my positive lead, I've got these banana/alligator clip wires. I've got 2 positive wires hooked together, and that is, you need power going to your motor and power going to your brake at the same time. That's why I'm doing this. And I have the same kind of setup on my negative side, just the blue and green. So first thing we'll do, I'll show you that the motor does work. So we'll hook up negative, hook up a positive, and that's just going to these big wires. That big thick wires are for the motor. See, it works, no problem. Motor works great. And then I'll show you here real quick. Right now, nothing is magnetized. I'll just take these off of here because I don't want to run the motor. Turn my power supply power back on. Now we got a magnet. So, yeah. See, now it's not. Take the power off, no magnet. Again, you got 3 springs that go in there. This plate fits on these little guide pins right here. And I'll just show you, just so you can kind of visually see how it's supposed to work. See, sucks it in. And that's how it pulls the brake away from this back plate. Keeps them separated so that the motor will turn. And one little thing I need to add, which I lost mine, there it is. Keep up with this. and it does fall out. And actually, all right, so let's put this sucker back together. The 3 springs go in right here, real simple. And they're kind of flat on both sides. I don't think it matters too much which direction they go in. They look the same on both ends. So then you're going to get your 2 plates. You got one that's got a key slot right there. And what I've been doing, kind of get the key facing straight up so you know where it is. Kind of get it pre-aligned close. You got these 3 slots on the brake plate that you got to get lined up to. It does have enough room for this to slide over before you get it all lined up. The tricky part is getting it all pressed in enough, and it's not that hard, but you got to play with it a little bit. Getting it pressed in enough and lined up with these 3 pins where you can get the nut started. Capture everything. There we go. And then we start adjusting, and I'll show you that. Get it a little snugger. Now, show you what we're going to do here and why we have to do it. So you can see that gap behind this plate. It's way too big, and if it's too far away, the electromagnet won't pull it closed, essentially. So what I have found, that the gap, which these are just like gapping tools you'd use for spark plugs or whatever, and you can see it's got inch and millimeter. The bottom number's a millimeter. 0.3 to 0.6 millimeter is what I've seen recommended. I found on the other one that 0.3 is where you need to be, the smaller side of that range. And maybe even if I was to do anything, I'd probably go a little bit below 0.3. But you can see right there, we've got a big gap, probably more than 0.6. And if you apply power to it, which I can do real quick here, does not pull it closed, right? So we're gonna close this gap, and that's real easy. Just tighten on this nut a little. You can see it closing. And I'll probably have to do this with 2 hands. I'll show you. But yeah, so that's all we're doing here. Closing the gap there. And then come along my feeler gauge. That feels maybe a little too tight. That feels about right. See, it's a small gap. Now we'll try it, applying power. And see, it pulls it closed. That's what you want. And then it pulls it, push it back. The springs push it back when you take power off. So now we'll try it with the brake, with the magnet on. The brake's disengaged. Apply power there. Get my other negative here. Look at that. We got a working motor. It's drawing about 3 amps. I like it. Now that does tell me I need to redo my other one because I was amping out. And this says 2.9 amps on this motor. It's what's wrote on it. So that's good. This sucker works perfect. All right. I'm gonna take the other one back apart, try to get it a little smoother. I did do a couple of things different there, but man, that is 100%. We saved the motor, saved some money. We'll put this back on back here. And yeah, I guess just if if you have this brake problem, I did not see any videos on this particular brand, and really anybody taking these type of brakes apart anywhere on YouTube. So I figured, you know, somebody else may be looking the same thing. Before you throw your motor away, you can fix this issue.